So we got Bigger, Brighter Sports. We got a baby, and we got Greg Adriano on the video here. And so, obviously with all the crap that's been going on in the world, I don't know what I still call it crap. I don't know. But there still is some sports stuff to talk about a little bit, not too much. We could talk about every person that's got coronavirus, but we all know none of them are going to die because they're rich. At least in has any MLB players gotten coronavirus?
Yankees have a minor leaguer that tested positive.
Yeah, that's about it.
Has there been anybody else?
No, nobody big name or anything like that.
Yeah, so
they haven't been releasing names either.
That's weird that they, the NBA, NHL's got a couple, and like the MLB is like, there's not many coming out of there.
Well, I think it's because NBA was in the middle of their season, right? So they're on airplanes, they're traveling around, they're doing that. Major League Baseball spring training's been pretty concentrated.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Maybe it's because most of them are in Florida. Maybe Florida's not that bad. I haven't. The problem is that you don't know anymore. You don't know where it's coming from or what's going to happen. But the big thing is, baseball wise, is that if they, what do they say, May 15th?
Yeah. Is that what the latest date is, Greg?
May 15th.
May 15th. I've heard possibly pushing it back to June. It's going to be hard to fit in 162 games. I don't think that's happening anymore.
So do you think it's going to be like a strike shortened season sort of thing, but not a strike?
Yeah. I talked to someone today that heard maybe 100 games. He
that's
read 100.
That's about right.
That actually should be good for people.
That's, and honestly, if it's a condensed kind of thing with everything that's going on, no matter what, the first 2 months of any sport that is coming back, they're going to get great ratings because everyone's sports hungry.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So, to me, if baseball tries to do all 162, there's no way that people are going to be able to deal with that.
No.
Just because they're going to try to catch up with everything else.
I mean, then how do you fit it in? You got 162 games. The Players Union only allows a certain number of games in a row, and then they regulate it so you have to have an off day. They're going to have to sign on for anything that allows has the players playing in consecutive games more than that. So I doubt the Players Union is going to do that because above all, you're going to want to be concerned about the players' health and safety. If you got guys, regular players, big name players like Mike Trout or Aaron Judge or guys, if they're healthy and you're getting them playing 15, 20, 30 games in a row with how players are these days, they're probably going to get hurt again. You don't want that. That's not good for the game.
No, I mean, that's the thing, too, is that last week we were talking about, like, the double headers. And, like, for me, if you put in, I think that's going to be more of an injury risk than just cutting the game a little bit short, cutting the season a little bit short.
Yeah. Plus, if you limit the number of double headers and you try to play a full 162, you're bleeding into the end of the year. There's no way that you're going to be able to play into December. In Major League ballparks, half the competitive teams are in the north, half of the United States. The Yankees can't play baseball games in December in Yankee Stadium. What are you going to do? You're going to have to find a neutral site, which I read something on Twitter the other day. Imagine they switch to neutral sites and the Yankees and Dodgers end up playing in the World Series in Houston. Yeah. Did you see that too?
That would be fantastic.
That would be. Oh, man.
It's almost, the funny thing is that, and Brad, you can chime in on this, like, it's almost like Houston fans are like, man, oh man, why didn't coronavirus come before us getting caught cheating? Like, I was thinking about that. Like, imagine if coronavirus came and the Houston scandal came out maybe a week after that.
It probably wouldn't be as big of a scandal.
Yeah.
Because the Houston news came out when there wasn't really much else going on.
No, there's nothing going on.
Yeah, it came out right after the World Series, right before all the other big sports started picking up.
Right.
I mean, it was before the Super Bowl, so.
Jeff Luhnow about playing this.
I don't know. It just seems like it's almost like, the movies always come out right, but sometimes it seems like some stuff is a movie. Like, let's say, from a football standpoint, let's say that a big name goes to another team, regardless who it is, they're going to be playing their team. For some reason, the next year they play their own team. It was like when the Raiders lost Khalil Mack, that year we played the Bears.
Yeah,
And it's just funny how that stuff works out. It's almost like it's planned in a movie.
Speaking of that, and to switch over to football, does Tampa play New England this year?
No. I don't think so. They play, I think they said they play the other teams that tried to get Tom Brady, but not not the actual Bucs, which I still can't believe.
That's weird. That's so weird. It's going to be so weird seeing him in a different uniform. Love him or hate him, it's just going to be weird.
It's funny, though, too, because I don't know. I know that, you know some stuff about football, but obviously you've seen Antonio Brown, how nuts he's been. Yeah. And Bruce Arians, the coach of the Buccaneers, said, no, I'm not going after him. Because everyone all of a sudden said, that's where Antonio Brown's going. And the coach was like,
they don't need him.
Well, no, they don't need him, but he coached him in Pittsburgh and said he was an asshole. And I was like, whoo,
which he is.
And
why would you want that?
What's the last pass that Tom Brady ever threw as a Patriot was a what?
Interception.
Pass Brett Favre, pass to the
interception.
Packer.
Interception.
Sometimes the races go out that way.
Yeah, and not to focus on the football just yet, but I just don't understand why he went to the Bucs, because I don't think they have a chance to win a Super Bowl.
I don't know, man. Defensively they're pretty weak.
That's what I'm saying.
Really
it's like
really good offense.
I would have went to the Chargers. As much as I would have hated that as a Raiders fan, I would have went to the Chargers.
We don't know what the Chargers were offering.
True.
No, with him signing in Tampa, that's going to probably attract other possible free agents.
True, and also fans. My buddy went to a Tampa Bay Bucs game last year. He got tickets like 10 minutes before the game, and like 6 rows up. Nobody goes to those games.
I believe it.
Just like Devil Rays games. Devil Rays games until they got made to the World Series. But did they have trouble filling the seats there?
They still do. Yep. Oh, the World Series? I'm pretty sure they sold out in the World Series.
Did they? I didn't remember if they sold out or not. Which is
I remember I was invested in that World Series, so I didn't care. They beat the Red Sox and not the Red Sox out of the playoffs, so I was happy.
Yeah, no, it's interesting how much people always want, like players always want to go to Florida because of the no state tax. Teams always want to go to a sunny area, but then nobody goes to the games.
Yeah.
If you're not, Dolphins games are always, there's nobody there. Devil Rays games, I'm guessing Marlins games, I haven't seen a Marlins.
They don't get many people at Marlins.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. It seems like Florida just doesn't seem like a good market for anything. They do actually. It's funny. They do sell out.
Tampa Bay.
About the Lightning do.
The Lightning sell out. And you know who else does really well? The soccer team here in Orlando.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. Soccer is actually pretty big down here.
Yeah, I was about to say the Hispanic. True. But I think nowadays soccer is just better than anything.
Soccer is gaining a lot of fans.
You know what my favorite team used to be in Orlando? The Solar Bears, the Pro Beach Roller Hockey League.
They still are here. They still have the Solar Bears. It's ECHL.
Yeah, right. But I'm talking about the ones where they used to have the roller hockey league right on the beach.
Yep.
And it'd be on ESPN on like Saturday morning.
Was that the one that had the curve in the corners?
Yeah.
Or whatever?
Yeah.
Oh, that was awesome.
It was banked behind the nets.
I remember that. The Solar Bears are still here though. They're an ECHL team. I can't remember who they're. I think they're affiliated with the Maple Leafs.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. No, dude. ECHL is.
It's just one step below the AHL.
No, but it's stuff.
Oh yeah, I've been to two. I've been to 2 Solar Bears games. That's all they do is fight the whole game, and they're high scoring too.
But that's the thing is that they've got a few guys that they've drafted that needs a little bit more prep than just the AHL. But when you go to those leagues, it's like, good Lord. It's just like old names that you remember. And it's like, Tom Sestito.
Remember that guy?
And Clutterbuck. And who was the one, LaPierre LeBlanc or whatever, that had the 2 names in the back? It was a huge last name. He played for the River Rats.
Pierre-Luc LeBlanc?
No, it was something else like that, but he was a big fighter. Cam Jansen?
It was Cam Jansen.
Oh, what's that?
They're affiliated with the Lightning.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense. Yeah,
It does. I thought they were. They used to. I think they used to be affiliated with the Maple Leafs and another team.
That is so interesting. That hockey.
They're actually on NHL 20. If you are a gamer out there, the Solar Bears are on NHL 20.
I know. I used to always because like I still only have a PlayStation 2, so like I have NHL 08. And I have AHL, but no ECHL. Like I always wanted to have that.
No.
Now
the game has it has the AHL, the ECHL, has all those European leagues. I don't think the KHL is on there, but yeah, they're all on there.
Xbox not have MLB The Show.
They will starting next year. They will. That was a new thing. It came out, I think, right after the season ended. Starting next year, all other platforms will have. Like Xbox, Switch. I don't know what it is.
I have Xbox. I've never played it, but I bought an Xbox like 3 years ago. We never played it, but one game I think I'd play a lot of is The Show, but you can only get that on PlayStation. So
that's why I have a PlayStation. I bought a PlayStation 4 so I could get the Aaron Judge.
From what I'm reading on Twitter, that's why a lot of people get PlayStation just for the show.
Yep, Ryan just picked up MLB The Show 20. He's been sending me Snapchats of him playing it, so it looks like it's pretty nice.
I was going to say, he's still got to work, though. I mean, we all do.
Yeah, he's been working.
He's probably one of the last people that's going to have to work if anything else gets crazier, He'll probably
Unfortunately. No, I've been working home all week. Working from home. That's been a bit of an adjustment. I've never done that before. I know, Brad, you can't work from home.
Do you find yourself having trouble staying focused, or are you doing all right?
It's not too bad. Not any different than any other work day. I've tried to keep myself on schedule, so like I wake up, and I try to be in front of my computer at like 8 o'clock in the morning, take my lunch break when I take my lunch break. It's been working out.
He's basically Jim Halpert from the office.
Jim Halpert from the office.
That's basically who Greg is.
Yeah.
Same sandwich every day.
Yep.
Yep, peanut butter sandwich.
The thing is that, like, some people love working from home, but like me, I'd go stir crazy. I just, and I'd also get off subject. I would never be able to work the full day without like looking on my phone.
Well, Greg's off subject all day long, even when he's at work. So
true.
I am very good at multitasking.
I'm not. No, I can't do it.
So once you're gone, you're gone. Huh?
I can't text and talk. I can't do none of that shit.
That's true.
Amanda's home too, so Amanda works for Disney, so Disney's closed for a couple weeks.
Oh
yeah,
they closed down everything.
Yep, everything's closed.
I don't know. I'm sorry, but I'm getting more and more nervous about it. But then again, I'm like, come on.
Well, that's the thing, though, is and Amanda and I talk about this all the time recently, is that it doesn't feel real because you don't know anybody personally that has caught the virus. You don't see it, but you're being told it's out there, so you're kind of expecting, and they're blowing it up to be serious, but you're not seeing any of it. So it's kind of hard to believe. That's why, Brad, you posted on Facebook the other day, all these kids are down here for spring break and they're out on the beach playing and partying and like nothing's going on while you're sitting up there in New York and your business is probably taking a hit because you can't stay open and you can't have people eat in your restaurant.
Yeah. Right. It's just I don't know. We can get into a million things about this. I don't want to talk about it all day, but it's just there's no unification. Someone's taking it seriously, someone's not. Mm-hmm. Some are partying, some are struggling over a business. I got customers that come in and they say their daughters or sons just went down to Myrtle Beach for spring break, and they find nothing wrong with it. And I have the next customer come in who's freaking out wearing a mask over their face. So
I don't get.
You don't know what to listen to.
That creeps me out a little bit. The mask thing, because it's like
the masks do nothing for you.
That's what I'm saying.
It kind of blocks the germs from getting in, but if you have it, it's just trapping those germs right in front of your face. Yeah.
Well, I saw a couple of people that wore the mask, but they didn't cover their nose, and I'm like, well,
still inhale it. No, I mean, if with all this going on, you kind of, I feel like you kind of have to err on the side of like caution. You don't know how serious it's going to be, but you don't want to get it. I mean, I don't want to get it, so I'm gonna play it a little safe. The way that like they're telling the symptoms is I think I had it already. It just feels like because it's respiratory. So middle of February, I had a really bad sore throat,
And I was like, every morning it would take me a while to get, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, man, oh man. It's like, it's almost like if you didn't know it was going on, you probably wouldn't freak out. I think it's more or less the stress is really hurting people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I completely agree. I mean, last week I had a sinus. Yeah, I mean, last week I had a sinus infection, and half the symptoms are similar. I mean, most of the symptoms are similar to this. But the only big difference is if you're sneezing is not a symptom. So I was sneezing.
Yeah,
That's how I knew I didn't have
it. They were saying stuff, and it's like it just makes me laugh a little bit because it's like, okay, so you're saying it's a cold. You know what I'm saying? It's
But the problem is that they don't have a vaccine for it yet. So that's kind of, I guess, why this is all kind of, people are taking it incredibly serious, because you can't go to the store, or you can't go to Publix or Price Chopper and get a vaccine in the pharmacy or the doctor or whatever.
And that's the thing too, is that you, like, let's say you go to a store or anything like that. So do you yell at a person that's coughing? That's what I've been hearing a lot of, is that people are like arguments because they're not like covering their mouth or something. It's like, you should anyway, but it's like we're going to end up getting into mass hysteria.
Cough into your elbow. Don't cough on your hands.
But you understand what I'm saying? It's like something like that is going to turn the world around. Like everyone's just going to be against each other because one fight started here and then it all escalates. Seems like the Purge. You know, I mean, it just seems like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just.
The day of the first purge was March 21st.
Day of the first purge was March 21st.
That's 2 days from now.
Saturday.
So stay inside, kids.
I was about to say, yeah, I got a firearm. I'm good. So the other thing I was going to ask about baseball is, are they going to, like, let's say they can't have a season, like the NHL and the NBA have said, like we're really trying to have a season, and I haven't heard much about it because it hasn't started. You know what I'm saying?
The Yankee Chatter.
But it's just, if you start the season, you should end it. That's what everyone's saying, and it's almost like we should just, whoever was number one, that's the champion. But I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that either, because you play the season to get to the playoffs, to then play the good teams to win the championship, right? In theory.
But you did win the season, right?
You did win the season.
You did win the season, but so Brad, say the Yankees, say this happened during baseball season and they had to cut off, say it's August, and they had to cut off the Major League Baseball season. Or just take the strike-shortened season of 1994. The Yankees and the Expos had the two best records in the major leagues. But they weren't given the Commissioner's Trophy. They weren't awarded the championship because they didn't play the playoffs. They didn't make it that far. So would you feel comfortable as a Yankees fan, given that the Yankees get all this crap for being the Yankees, if you're just handed the Commissioner's Trophy because the season was cut short?
Well, I mean, if you can't have the playoffs, then I think you defer to who won the season. And in any sport, playoffs are essentially just a tournament. I mean, so sometimes, a lot of times, actually, in sports, the best team doesn't win the championship, because all they did was win the tournament. You know what I mean? Especially in hockey, we have 8 seeds that get a hot goal.
Well, the President's Trophy is always a jinx. If you're the number one team, it's always a jinx in the NHL.
Right. Well, so what I'm saying is, I'm okay with in these circumstances, whoever won the regular season getting the trophy. Over the course of 162 games, you were the best team. You just didn't play the tournament.
Yeah. I mean,
then how would you feel if they came up with a specific award? It wasn't the World Series trophy, but they got a specific trophy that is just for winning the regular season.
Yeah, you can do that.
And then they do that every year, and then you get that award for having, like, don't they do that in hockey? You get an award for having the best record.
Yeah, the President's Trophy.
That's what they call it.
Yeah, so you get the President's Trophy for having the best record. So why can't baseball have that? It's not a World Series trophy, but you're at least honored for having the best record. I lost Tino. There he is.
I'm just trying to get Tino back in the frame here.
Oh, we got a crier. Oh, he's good.
He's gonna go watch Coco.
Yeah, but you know what? The problem is that no one's ever going to see them as a champion. No one's going to.
The Astros won the World Series in 2017. I don't see them as a champion because they cheated.
Yeah. No.
But you're gonna have 29 fan bases that feel that way. Whoever wins that championship, they're gonna feel, well, they didn't play it, they didn't earn it in the playoffs, they don't deserve that.
Almost like
so you're gonna piss off a lot of people.
Just suspend the season, because the other thing too is that if you end up having a late season, especially with hockey has a very small window of opportunity to relax, because it's like if you go to the Stanley Cup Finals, that's in June.
Yeah.
You have to be back by September. Like that's one of the shortest.
It's the same as the NBA.
Is it the same as the NBA? The NBA goes that long?
Yeah, NBA Finals and Stanley Cup Finals usually back-to-back weeks.
But still, if you let's say that the Stanley Cup's in August, like there's no way that those guys are going
to. You have to push back next season.
Just be done with it.
But that's what they're talking about with. But that's what they're talking about with baseball. If you push the whole season back and you play it for 162 games, then next year's the World Baseball Classic, right? And that starts before or during spring training. So you're gonna have players reporting in early January, and you're finishing the season in December. That's not good. And the other big question that comes up with all this is, if you're gonna have a shortened season, how do you handle service time? Because there are a lot of, like, Mookie Betts is a free agent after this season, but they're not playing a full season. So how does that work?
It's still a season.
It's still a season, right?
Almost like that. It would be the point of maybe not for baseball, but like the NBA and the NHL, it's almost just cut the season off. It's over. Nobody really there's no playoffs. There's no nothing. Just that season never happened. Didn't never happen. You know what I'm saying? You
look at it from a rookie standpoint or these minor leaguers standpoint. They get service time for a number of games played. Then you're saying, Brad, if a rookie plays this year and plays a full season, but a full season is only 80 games, does that count towards a full season of their service time?
Yeah, they played this
season. I feel like this is a unique situation. I feel like you can't count it towards a full season.
I don't know. I just feel like if there's a 2020 champion, then that's the season.
Yeah, but it's also a shortened season. It's an asterisk.
That's just bad luck for you.
The problem is that it's almost like they should just wipe out everything. I think that's the best way, because you're going to be throwing your head against the wall, figuring out what to do. Because it's like the Kentucky. So the Kentucky Derby always happens the first Saturday in May. Now they're moving it to September.
Yeah.
And there is so many things that have to happen to get to that process. Because, like, even for Saratoga, I don't want this to think this, but they might not have a Saratoga season this year. And if they do, the Travers would have to be moved, because the Travers is the Kentucky Derby of the summer. But if you haven't had the Kentucky Derby yet, you know what I'm saying? They're saying that they might do it like Kentucky Derby in September, Preakness still in Belmont the same day. And I'm like, well, then just don't have it. Just let it. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I get it. It sucks, but it's like, this is a totally different situation that anyone's ever gone through.
And the other argument you can make for service time and stuff like that is how can you call it a full season, and how can you say that a team won the full season when you play 162 games in a typical year, and you only play 80 games? Well, as well as I do, and in any sport other than maybe football, is 80 games is kind of a short sample size. You may do well in an 80-game stretch, but if you play 162 games, that a team that's hot in the first half could very well be cold in the second half and fall off.
Yeah.
So how do you justify them even winning a trophy or making the playoffs or doing anything when you haven't played a full Major League Baseball season?
Because it's not shortened for just one team. Everyone's on a level playing field. So if you were the best team in that shortened season, then you're the champion of that season.
Mm-hmm.
The odds are the same for all the teams still. It's not like one team got to play 80 games less than everyone else.
No, but you can argue that there's a team that had the best record in the first half of the season last year that probably didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, and you can argue
how can you guarantee that they still make the playoffs if they play a full 162? I mean, the wild card came down to the last month of the season.
That's the season. I mean, you could argue that
but they played a full 162 games. Oakland wasn't in the picture the first half of the season.
Hey, but it doesn't matter. I mean, that's the season.
That's why you play the full 162.
But if it's physically not possible for any of the teams It's still it's still the 2020 season.
Yeah, but it's a half season. It's not a full season. Full season of baseball is 162 games. Just like a full NHL season is what, 80 something games?
82.
82.
82.
Basketball's the same, right?
Yeah, basketball and the NHL are the same.
So
yes, that's right. Basketball, I don't know. I think it's in the 80s.
Yeah, I think you're right. And let's throw this out to the viewers if there's anybody watching. My thing doesn't tell me if there's any viewers, but if there's anybody watching out there, what do you guys think? Do you think if there's a pro season that's shortened because of this coronavirus, or just in general, is it considered a full season? How do you feel about the teams making the playoffs? Do you think they deserve the World Series trophy, even though it's not a full season of baseball, even though it's technically a season? Does that make sense? Am I saying what I?
No, you are, but like especially in baseball, do they give an award to the team with the most wins?
No.
Interesting. I thought
they get best record and they get the number one seed in the playoff structure.
True. No, but I'm saying is
but they don't get a specific award.
It must be the NHL that's the only one that does that, where they award the team that had the most points at the end of the season. Because I know the NBA doesn't do that. So it must just.
And football doesn't do anything like that, right? They just get a number one seed in a first round bye.
I think the biggest thing is that people, and I understand where we're coming from and all that, but I bet you the players, why would they want it? They didn't earn it. They earned it, but didn't go through. You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, you were a World Series champion in 2020, you were a Stanley Cup winner, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, but you weren't. You know what I'm saying?
And maybe we wait for Brad to come back because I'd like to get his input on this, but I could throw it to you too. So you play baseball, you play 162 games. Nobody since Ted Williams has hit over 400 for batting average, right? So if you get a guy who gets really hot for 80 games and he's batting 401, 415, something like that after 80 games, does he break Ted Williams' record? Because the year Ted Williams hit over 400, he probably had 500 something at bats. If you're going to play 80 games, you're going to get 200 something at bats.
So when they had, you'll know this, when Maris, I watched the movie, but when Roger Maris hit the 61st home run, they put an asterisk next to it because it wasn't that amount of games.
It was more games, right?
It was more games.
But it was only 8 more games. That's a tiny sample size in a Major League Baseball season.
But it's almost, the thing is, it's almost like if you just can't do it. You got to do what Ted Williams did. You got to do the same amount of time, in my opinion.
For me, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, but I'm saying just like anything. Like if I was the player, and I can almost guarantee you that Maris, I think Maris got screwed a little bit, but if you've got a guy there's got to be a window of, let's say, 10 games. If you're 10 games away from it, then you should get it. If you're 70 games away from it, then no, you don't deserve it.
All right. So then how do you feel now? Say, the Babe hit 60 home runs in 154 games, right? Say someone today does it, or let's say Roger Maris hit 61 home runs in 140 games because he missed a couple games because he sprained his ankle or something like that. He did it in several less games, but the season was in effect longer.
Yeah. It's just that asterisk. It's always like you're.
So I looked it up, and Ted Williams hit 406 in 1941, and he had 606 plate appearances, played in 143 games, and had a 456 official at bats. So now, if someone in this pandemic shortened season of 80 to 100 games plays all 100 games and hits 450, but had 200 less at bats than Ted Williams, does he break Ted Williams' record because he in fact did it in a full season, even though it wasn't as many at bats or as many games?
I think the biggest thing is the at bats. if you have the same amount of at-bats as Ted Williams did. Now, obviously, if you go full season and you have less, I'm saying if they play a full 162 games, they have less at-bats and all that stuff. It doesn't matter because you went to full 162. But if you're going to have a short season, I would say that the thing would be get to where Ted Williams was at bats, and then I would say there's no asterisk because they both had the same amount of tries at hitting 400.
Okay, so 1927, that's when Babe Ruth hit his 60 home runs. He played 151 games and had 540 at-bats.
Let's go back.
500.
540 at-bats for 60 home runs. Now, Roger Maris, 1961, hit his famous 61 home runs that had the asterisk, and he played in 161 games. So he played 10 more games than the Babe, and hit one more home run than him. But they had to put an asterisk next to it because the season lengths weren't the same.
Until the 90s, right? The 90s is when they removed it.
I think that's when they bumped it up to 162. I can't remember when they started playing 162.
That's what it said in the movie, I think, at the end, that he wasn't even able to enjoy it because he was dead.
I mean, records you can do all day because at the end of the day, the equipment they use now is not the same as back then. The ball is juiced now. It wasn't juiced back then.
But you can still hit. A guy could hit 450 in an 80-game season. Would you consider him the batting having a full season over 400 and taking Ted Williams' record away from him?
Well, for records, no, you can't do the same with the records. No,
I would say that
how can you hold that same standard for a record, but you can't hold it for winning a championship?
Because you still had. All right, so my softball team, this league has 6 teams, so we play 12 games. 2 years ago, my softball league had 8 teams, so we played 16 games. You still get the champion, still the champion in the season. It's still the season.
Right, but that's a rec league. You can't compare a rec league of 16 games to a professional league where these guys train their whole lives to play on a professional stage, get paid millions of dollars, and typically in any other year, any ordinary year, they play 162 games. But because this 1 year they have to play a half a season because of a pandemic.
Right, so you can't compare them to past World Series champions, but in that season they are the World Series champions.
I think they have to.
If they play a playoff and win the playoffs, yes, I agree to that.
That's what I'm saying. They at least have to go through. If they shorten the season, you still got to play in the World Series. In my opinion.
Right, but I still don't feel you can put that championship on the same level as a full season, as a full 162 game season. To me, it's a different trophy. You won the championship that season, but it's not the same championship as if you were playing.
You can't compare them to other World Series teams.
Yeah, no. Like, let's say the Yankees won.
So then they'd have to change the name of the trophy and put out a different trophy, because it's not, to me, playing 80 games, making the playoffs, winning the playoffs, and winning the World Series in the shortened season is not the same as playing 162 games.
No, you still win the World Series of 2020. Well,
yeah, but I think it has to have an asterisk next to it then.
But that's just like you go from that and you say, because this is a known thing that they took away Reggie Bush's Heisman, and in the records books, there's just nobody who won the Heisman in 2005. So it's almost like, to me, it's if I don't care how long the season is, you have to go through that World Series tournament to get a World Series thing. And maybe they won't say it in real life, but in real life, like, we'll know, like, that was the 80-game season. So it's just
just call it the MLB champions.
It's something like that. I
just don't feel like I feel like you can say they won the championship, they won it that season, but it's not the same trophy to me. It's not the same.
Oh yeah, and
you didn't accomplish the same feat because you're not going through the same extra. Because there's injuries you could deal with. There's rookies that can come up. There's trades that can impact a season that you're not even touching because you're not even playing that many games.
What if it was the Yankees?
And it's the Yankees.
If it was the Yankees, you would just.
I wouldn't consider it a World Series championship. I would say they've won 27 champiomships and then an MLB championship because it was a short season.
But like you said,
I think it's gonna be harder.
You think so?
Yeah, because you have a short amount of games to be really good at.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but a lot of times, look at teams like the Mets. The Mets always have a really good first half of the season. always. And then they fizzle out. They would take advantage of this. I would think they would be a really good team that would be salivating at the chance to play only 80 games.
That's why I think this might be good for baseball, because more of the games will matter more. The Oakland A's aren't going to be able to get off to a terrible start again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think it actually could be good for baseball with less games this year.
I don't know. It's just.
I agree. I agree to the point of what you're saying. The only reason I don't agree is because I'm used to 162 games. I love 162 games. I love watching it. It's like a part of my life that I now have to cut in half because it's not the same as it used to be. But as far as getting more people interested in the games and having that have more meaning, and you can't hit that rough patch. Like in football, if you get off to an 0-4, 0-5 start, there's a pretty slim chance that you're going to make the playoffs. It can happen, but you have to have a miracle.
What's going to hurt baseball is that now they're going to be playing their regular season at the same time as the NBA and the NHL, and that's really going to hurt.
Yeah. And usually their playoffs, the NHL playoffs and the NBA playoffs, they overlap with the beginning part of the season. But what you're saying is when they get down to like the wild card races, division races, and playoffs, MLB could possibly be competing with NBA and NHL for their Stanley Cup and NBA playoffs.
In August. Yeah, it's gonna hurt that way.
I don't know. Mm-hmm.
Which then you're gonna have all the TV networks that are gonna be competing. It's gonna be a mess.
It's gonna be a nightmare.
But
which is why they need to take out the stupid blackout restrictions on MLB TV and NHL TV.
Right.
This is a perfect. If you want to grow the game, if you want more people to watch, and streaming is how people watch things now. I don't know about you guys. I don't pay for cable. I probably will never pay for cable again in my life.
Yeah, I gotta have cable.
But I pay for Hulu. I pay for Netflix. I pay for Disney Plus. I pay for Stars. I pay for MLB TV, and an NHL TV.
I was about to say,
I watch and I stream all that stuff. I can't watch the Devils. I can't watch the Yankees if they're in Florida.
True.
I can't.
Oh yeah, even through the streaming stuff you can't.
Even through they block it when the Yankees play the Rays and when the Yankees play the Marlins. I can't watch them unless I go to someone's house that has cable.
See, to me, it's just,
so I miss as a diehard Yankee fan, as a person that's spending $120 a year on an MLB TV membership. I'm missing out on 18 games, or however many games the Yankees play the Rays this year because they're blocked out.
And they block out the area because it's not.
They block it out because it's an in-market game because somewhere on cable it's being aired.
Gotcha.
In that market.
So it's in the agreements contract.
Yeah, no.
Which is stupid because so many people watch things on the go these days.
Yeah.
And not on their TV or through streaming platforms. Why are you blocking them out? It doesn't make sense to me.
Within the next 5 years, that'll all be changed.
I hope so. I hope so. The only way you're going to grow the game for kids, for college students, for people that grew up in one location like myself and now live in a completely different market, that's going to be a big reason. When I went to school in Buffalo, I had cable, but they didn't carry the S network. Right. So I had to, when I was sitting in studio, I paid for the MLB TV, not realizing that MLB TV would be blocked out because you could get Yes Network. I had to listen to it on the radio, which wasn't bad because I got used to Susan and John Sterling. But you get people like that who are transplants who are out of market. They want to watch the team that they grew up watching. They can't because the platform because it's not available in their area and the platform that they pay for doesn't carry it.
That's the problem. Is that I don't think like when it comes to that stuff, there's a wrong in that. But it's just like I honestly think, like I just said before, I think that everything's going to be non-existent in the next 5 years. Where I almost think they might start creating like your favorite team plus, where you can you can pay a fee to watch all the Packers games, Raiders games, Yankees games for a certain fee. I hope they do that because that's probably
that's pretty sweet.
If that's
that would be pretty sweet. I would pay for that. I mean, I would. Go ahead.
I know I would pay for that too, but I'm saying out of all the leagues that probably wouldn't do it, it would be the NFL because they're so greedy. But in the other leagues, I can see
you only have two networks that you can watch it on, and if you're out of market and your team, the Raiders, is playing at the same time you're in New York, so at the same time as the Giants or the Jets or the Bills, you're screwed. You don't get to watch your team.
Yeah. That's one thing though that I've been thinking about too, is because cable's getting so out of crazy, but it's like I really want to watch my team play, and it's like my team's not good enough to be on regular TV, so it's like
I mean, that's why I have to pay for Sunday package every year.
Yeah, I got to do it.
That's the way I get Green Bay games.
Yeah, it's.
But it'd be sweet to have like a Green Bay package.
That's what I'm saying. Is that
or like MLB, because on MLB TV, I can watch literally any baseball game as long as it's on the market. But I don't get pregame. I don't get pregame. I don't get postgame. It's only from the game starts at 7:05. It starts coverage at 7 and it ends like 5 minutes after the last pitch.
I was about to say, at least they let you watch it.
It cuts it off. It lets me watch the whole game, even if the game goes longer than it's scheduled for. But I don't get to see postgame. I don't get to see pregame. Now, if I listen to the radio part of it, I can listen to pregame. I get postgame. But I'd rather watch it because I miss out on half the stuff they put on. Yes.
Exactly, and like I said, I mean, everything that's going on now, and I really hope they do. Like I'm saying, I hope they do that. But to me, if your season has already started, and because the MLB's has not, but if your season has already started, I think you just scratched the season. I know it sucks, and it sucks for the fans, it sucks for the players, but it's like it's going to be more of a headache to figure out what to do than just be like, we're starting over again in September. Now, with the MLB, it's different because they haven't started their season yet. And if this thing goes into September, I hope it doesn't. What does college football and the NFL do? Do they wait till next year? I think I would fucking kill myself if that happened. But, like, it's almost like they just, like, wait till everything's done, and then we can just start it over.
Well, how you feel right now, Tino? And how you feel, what you just said about if that affects the NFL season? How you feel about that? Like what you just said, like if this goes to college football and NFL season, that's how I feel about baseball. That's how I feel right now. Like they just had 2-3 weeks of preseason games, and now they're taking it all away. I waited my 3 months of off season for MLB to start, and it just started, and I just got a taste of it. Now it's gone.
Yeah,
it sucks. As a baseball fan, it sucks.
I think that with baseball, they just got to be – they can't be stubborn about it. They just got to do the right thing. And, you know, it's a short season. Just make it like it's a strike. Like,
well, and the thing is they're going to – all teams are losing tons of money over this. I mean, even when baseball comes back, they're going to – there's a pretty good chance that they're not going to play with fans in the stands for a while.
Yeah. I mean,
right. And then think about this for the NBA and for the NHL. So they get pushed back to September or June or July or whatever they're talking about right now. Now they play in shared venues. 99% of those teams play in shared venues, either with another professional team, a college team, or they use those venues for concerts. They use those venues for special events, for graduations, for stuff like that. Now you're not just rescheduling a season, you're rescheduling all these other events that are going on, concerts, stuff like that. It affects so much. And if they're going to bring it back, then there's going to be a ton of coordination going into this.
I don't know if anyone's talking to us or not.
I know they would be there if it's a live channel. Like you said, Greg, this is just a crazy, you know, it sucks. That's all it is. It sucks. But I do think that the MLB has the best scenario to at least have a somewhat full season. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't
they start and a finish, right? Yeah.
They don't really share. You know, the last team to share a stadium with an MLB team is gone. The Raiders are now in Las Vegas, so it's not like that they have their
and they still played like on Sundays. You know, Raiders still played home games in Oakland Coliseum. And Yankees will go to Oakland and you see the lines on the outfield.
And that's the thing that I think I have. I don't know. But think about, like you were saying earlier, think about like if you want to have the 162, that means teams would have to move like to California.
They have neutral sites, or shit ton of double headers.
Yeah,
pretty much. If you do neutral territories, that means that the teams that play in the South, because they're going to end up being southern teams, like the teams in Florida, Texas, Southern California, Arizona, all that. You're displacing a bunch of teams. Also, you can't if the Yankees are going to play a home game in Tampa or in Miami, then the Rays can't. The Rays can't have a home game at the Trop. That's an unfair advantage.
Well, by then they'll be in Montreal anyway, so.
Well, yeah. But then you have the teams in the north that have domes. So
I was just thinking about that through the domes.
On my mind, Seattle can play a full season. Minnesota's outdoors.
Oh, did they go back to outdoors?
Yep, they're outdoors now. Cleveland's outdoors. Detroit's outdoors.
That's where the outdoor classic will be next year.
Yeah, Target Field's outdoors.
What about
but Milwaukee's a dome.
Is Toronto a dome?
Toronto's a dome. So you have a handful, and then you can use the Montreal ballpark.
Yep.
Because no one's using it, or the Rays would, I guess, you'd use that.
Yeah, it's just a weird time in the world right now.
It really is. It's crazy. The Texas Rangers are now the Rangers got a brand new ballpark this year, and they're only going to be able to use it for a small amount of time.
Yeah.
How about a lousy year to open a brand new ballpark?
Right. That's what I'm thinking about the Raiders too, because the Raiders are going into a new place too, and it's not cheap. What's going on?
And
it's.
if they don't get to play a full season, then they're going to have to jack up ticket prices.
Yeah, he just said that they're saying the Raiders might have to stay in Oakland because they're behind schedule. Then what?
Because construction probably has to stop.
Well, but what about the Oakland A's? They do have to share the stadium now still. You know what I'm saying? So that screws everything up. It's just a nightmare.
There's so many moving parts to all this.
Yeah, and
I know we weren't going to talk about baseball that much, but I mean, I guess this is a good conversation.
But it's not just baseball; it's everything.
It's all sports.
It goes beyond sports. So like bands that are just trying to come out with new music this year.
Yep.
They're kind of screwed, especially if they're just releasing EPs and trying to go on tour. They can't do that.
Movies,
like up and coming comedians can't.
So
in front of audiences.
It's I will say something about the comedians. One of my favorite comics, Mike Birbiglia, he actually hosted on Instagram today a live show.
Yeah.
From his living room, and then he had another comic join him. And they're doing this actually. There are people that are watching. They're trying to get them to donate money to the clubs that they were supposed to play in.
Right. Yes, I did hear this.
And donate the money to the people that work there, which is fantastic. Now, down here in Florida, just like up in New York, I don't know if they still do it, but they have a big rock music festival called Birthday Birthday, where actually Shinedown is supposed to headline this year. And today it just came out that that's supposed to happen in April. They had to postpone it. So you have these big concerts, music festival season is going to take a huge hit, especially to all these areas like up in the north.
Ohio's famous for their big festival in May.
Rock on the Range, right?
It's not Rock on the Range anymore. They moved it. It's called something else. It's still in Ohio, but it's not in the same place now.
Like I said, it's a nightmare.
It is.
Because I'm looking to buy a house. The way the market's going is like it should be an advantage towards the buyer, but the house I'm trying to get, she's retarded and she doesn't understand business, But it's almost like a lot of people are taking this too strongly, or they don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's cautious and then there's just outrageous to me, and that's the thing, and that's where I think. When it gets back to sports, it's the same kind of thing. It's like, what do you do to make everybody happy? There might not be anything you can do. I mean, it's like, okay, so we're going to play the games, but it's going to be empty. Like the UFC this past weekend had an event in Brazil with no fans. And I'm not going to lie, during watching the fight, I had no idea there was no fans in the stands. It didn't make a lick of difference to me. I know it might to the competitors, but for the person watching the actual telecast of it, it's like there was no difference. So in saying that, it's like, well, then why don't they just go with it? You know what I'm saying? Just go with it. But it's I don't know. It's just an insane time of year.
It's a crazy time of life. It is what it is. It is what it is.
I hope it's not. I hope this just stops soon, but it's like it's almost. I don't know.
It's just starting. That's what they say.
I know.
Although we got some good news about maybe a vaccine.
Maybe
up
they're
in China. Something has been
the FDA.
It cured the infected in like 4 days.
The
China,
the FDA also.
That'd be nice.
Whenever you're doing vaccines and stuff, there's a lot of red tape and all that. They are just going through the red tape and just trying to fix it. That's what scares me. It's like, goddamn, it's like the plague, and it's like, I hope that's not a thing. Like, I got a lot more life to live. It's like, good Lord.
They say it's a plague, but it doesn't kill you. So at least we got that going.
No, well, that's the thing. It's like, it's almost like the thing is, there's younger people dying, but the biggest thing is the older generation, which scares the shit out of me because all my grandparents are alive. And I don't want to go visit them.
I mean, my dad, he's in the demographic. He's over 60, and he flew down. He flew down here last Friday.
Oh, did he really?
He was here for a couple of days, and now he's in Tampa golfing with his buddies. But he's gonna have to fly back. And the problem is we don't know if Florida's gonna put in a travel ban. He might not be able to get out of the state.
Well, I was surprised he could fly. But they're not.
He said he was able to get on his flight. He had a whole row to himself. They sprayed him down with disinfectant spray, Lysol. And that was it. And then when we got home, when he got to our house, we sprayed him down with Lysol again. We sprayed down his bags and stuff like that. We wouldn't let him in the house.
Open your mouth there, Dad.
Yeah, right. It's like the spray suntan lotion.
I mean, to be honest, I'm supposed to go to Phoenix next week. I was still planning on going, but my sister told me I had to come. But we were still planning on going.
Yeah,
I know that's not.
Well, the problem is you may not be in the demographic. You may not be in the demographic to get sick, but you can still carry it and you can still transmit it.
Yeah, I get it.
You don't want to be that guy that gives it to someone and then they end up suffering for it.
Yeah, don't be that guy, brother.
Yeah, Brad, don't be that guy.
I like being the guy. I'm the guy.
Yeah, but you don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, right.
It's good to be the guy, but not that guy.